What up? What up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm J and we're locked in. This is the Shy Season 6, Part 2, Episode 9. Yeah, I know that's a lot, but we had a break in September. Here we are now, and we also just got confirmation that there will be a Season 7, and they're one season away from syndication, where they'll actually make a lot of money and start getting residuals. So that's a positive, so we can expect to see the Shy for at least 2 more seasons. Now, before we jump into this, we break down Episode 9. Since we just returned, if you like the Shy content, breakdowns, theories, and predictions, recaps like this, then hit your subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Make sure you hit that like button, and I'm on that road to 50,000 subscribers, so I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, a lot's been going on. The big thing is Kevin had left, and we know that Emmett and Rob tried to take out Douda, but they failed. So let's jump into it. This is the recap of Episode 9 of The Shy, Part 2 of Season 6. What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm J and we're locked in. This is part 2 of the Shy Season 6. And we did find out that they got confirmed for a Season 7. So we got these last episodes, and it looks like heading on into 2025, we'll have another season. Now we're picking up where we left off, and the last thing we remember was Kevin was moving to Los Angeles to pursue his dreams. Emmett had gotten into some street stuff because he's trying to get away from Douda. Trig is finally out here living his life and following his purpose. And the rest of the gang, they fall in line, and we're going to see what we're going to get into this season. Now, before we jump into this and break down the Shy, if you like this kind of content, breakdowns, theories, and predictions, recaps, then hit your subscribe button and turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Make sure you hit that like button, and I'm on that road to 50,000 subscribers. So the Shy, we got another season. So if you don't see this at 100 likes, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let's jump into it. This is part 2 of Season 6 of The Shy. We start the episode off and we see Trig coming through, and he has the Thule on him. Now he's here to get rid of Douda, and that's because Douda has been terrorizing the Shy, and it's only right we get rid of him. Now remember, Bakari was Douda's worker, not his right-hand man, one of his workers. So Trig ends up running into Bakari, and Bakari's like, "What are you doing here? You was about to take out Douda?" And he said, "Yeah, I had to do it. It needed to be done." But Bakari's like, "You can't do that because of everything you've been working on, your accomplishments, your goals. Dude, fall back. This ain't the time nor the place for all of this." So Bakari is starting to become the voice of reason for what we seen early in the episode. Papa and Jake are the only two left in the Shy that were a part of the original crew because Kevin went to LA. And you see Papa working at Smokies telling Jake you can't eat for free. The literal definition of a child is eating for free because your parents are providing for you. Now, Jake has his own bills, and him and Gemma, they're in a relationship, but we know that Gemma is always with Bakari's sister. In comes Emmett, and Emmett is telling him, "Hey, Jake, you can't eat for free." But as he looks right, he sees an assailant in the back seat with a chopper, and they get to shooting up Smokies. Everyone is dropping on the ground. The whole building is shot up. And now Emmett is realizing that, man, I may have actually started some beef that we ain't got on the menu. We can't put this on the grill because it's in the streets. Things are starting to heat up. Emmett goes home after the shooting, locks Smokies down, and now he's in front of the window like he's Malcolm X with the tool on him. Now Kiesha, she's saying get out of the window. And they have a little back and forth because he's stressed out. He's trying to make sure that the family is provided for. She's stressed out because she wants to get rid of the house now, even though she's the one that wanted the house initially. And they both come to an agreement. Look, he's dealing with your anger management and your issues. You're dealing with him running around making wild deals with Douda, but they're both scared, and they both come together and they realize that, hey, as long as we're going against each other, we're not going to get anything accomplished. Let's take our time and think about it because we are scared. Douda is talking to his organization, and he's making sure that they sent a warning shot out. A warning shot. Well, when he talks to the crew, they said, "Yeah, we did. We hit up Smokies." Douda is enraged, and the reason for that is because, listen, he owns Smokies. Remember, he started another chain in New York. So shooting up his own business is bad for business because now no one wants to go to Smokies because you might get shot up there. So now he's angry at everybody. You even hear Bakari, he chimes in and says, "You shot up Smokies? Papa was working." Him and Papa started to get cool. So Bakari, he's in his feelings. He's about to leave. But Douda tells him to sit down. And anyone that goes after Douda, we got to try to get him up and out the game. Now he remembers that Emmett told him to meet up 1v1 alone. You also hear they bring up Tiffany's guy, and they like, nah, he ain't got the balls for it. But we do know he got hit. Emmett goes over his pop's house. Now remember, Darnell is back with his mama now, Emmett's mama, his old wife. And he's telling his dad what happened. I told Douda to meet me one on one. It's like you have to be the dumbest person ever, Emmett, to tell somebody you're trying to unalive, which you don't unalive, to meet them one on one. And he's saying, what are you gonna do next? Because you can't hide forever. Emmett says he's gonna hire security. He's like, man, if Douda wants you gone, you're gonna be gone. On top of that, Emmett ain't got the kind of money to hire security because his money's coming from Douda. But he's like, listen, you gotta convince Douda that you're more important alive than unalive. That's the only plan. They end up moving Rob back to his mama's house for protection, and then we see Emmett cleaning up Smokies. Now, Jada comes over and she's like, how deep into this are you, Emmett? Where are you at in this? And you see Darnell look over at him and like, go ahead and tell her. Even though they don't want her involved in it, Emmett says, listen, me and Rob trying to get Douda killed. We tried to unalive him, but you know that I'm not no shooter. It's just gonna be up to me to try to figure out how to convince Douda that we're worth more alive than we are unalive. Now, of course, you know a mother when her instinct kicks in, just like us, we knew Emmett wasn't no shooter. We knew it was silly for Emmett to even try this. But at this point, there's nothing parents can do. They just have to let this play out unless Emmett's gonna leave the city. Bakari goes over to Papa's house where he's been staying on and off, and he's telling Papa, man, it was crazy. But listen, Papa, they didn't try to unalive you. Now, Papa's like, man, I was at work. Do you know how stupid this sounds? You need to leave the streets alone, man. It could have got ugly for every one of us. Papa's pool pit would have been over. I wouldn't have had no job. I could have been unalive. Now, Bakari tells him it was just a warning shot and no one was supposed to get hurt. But at this point, this young man is stuck in the system that he can't get out of because you heard Douda act like he was Nino Brown. Sit your $5 down before I make change. So it's scary times for everybody. They come back to tell Douda they went to the hospital, but they didn't find Rob. Well, Douda is upset because he's like, if you guys can't do it, then I'm going to have to get up and go do it myself. So he sends them back to the hospital to at least look for Tiffany because if Rob is there, then Tiffany would be there. But after that, he asks, hey, what's up with Bakari's sister? And he says, Bakari's sister, she can't stay with Bakari. He trusts her, but he doesn't want her to be there. Now, this is where we see Douda start to get angry and we figure out why she's back in town. Douda said, you gave her $30,000. That $30,000 is going to have to last her. But tell her I said less of that stupid ass music that she's making with Gemma and have her hanging out with Bakari more because they paid her to spy on Bakari. That's why she came back into Bakari's life. Emmett calls up Papa to set up a meeting between him and young Bakari. Now, Bakari's on the phone and he doesn't know why he's here. We aren't sure who he's talking to, but he does say he loves him. Now, this could be his sister. This could be his girl. We aren't for sure. But Emmett is saying, listen, I need your help to get at Douda. Bakari says, you need a bulletproof vest. Now, Emmett is saying, you need to help me because when you didn't have anything, we fed you. We all care about you. We know you don't like him either. Bakari does say he's still my boss. At this point, is your boss that's potentially going to take away your life more important than you trying to save yourself? So Emmett, he may have got through, and maybe Bakari is smart enough to know, let me join this side because it's only going to end bad on Douda's side. Bakari's sister has ran through that 30 racks and she needs more money, but we know Douda ain't about to give up more money until he gets some information. She ended up giving Gemma a 10%, $10,000, an advancement. No one's ever gave a manager that much money, but she says she will give up some information on Bakari. Now, Bakari is starting to second guess everything, and he's talking to the OG. Hey, what you think? You ain't never wanted more for yourself? Get away from all of this? And what does he tell Bakari? Yeah, I used to, but at this point, look where we at. We just got to keep riding this wave. Jake moved into Kevin's old apartment once he moved out, and he's starting up his Shy Seeds clothing brand. And hey, the product is starting to move. But in comes Douda's henchman. Now he's looking around, tailored suit on, a little too clean to be in here looking for some street apparel. But he starts talking to Jake, and Jake is saying, yeah, my business is starting off. It's starting to feel like a real business since I got this place. And he tells Jake, you can't be a one-man business your whole life. So he hands Jake maybe 10, 15, $20,000 and says, use this as an investment and hire you some help. Now, Jake doesn't know this man's name or nothing, and he says, give me a couple of sweaters, some t-shirts, and a pair of pants, and it's a pleasure doing business with you. They're trying to gather up as much information as they can on Emmett and on Bakari. So right now, Jake just made a deal with the devil. Back at Victor's house, him and his old lady, they're having a conversation because Victor is running for councilman. Victor is supposed to be a legitimate politician. Now his old lady sits down and says, when'd you get back into smoking? You ain't no killer. And he's like, man, the smoking, it eases my mind. It's stress reliever. And once a killer, always a killer. Now she walks off and says she can't be in no relationship with a person that's going to flip and go back to being a killer. And Trig, aka Mr. Victor, he flips out. He's losing it because he knows what he wants to be, but he can't forget what he was. Well, Gemma got her girls in the booth, and Maisha has a track on her hands. What? She's kind of getting a writer's block and don't know how to take it to the next level. Now, Bakari's sister's like, let me hop on in there and put my 1-2 on there. And the song actually came out sounding pretty cool. So at the end, Gemma's like, y'all should work together a little more often. But we're going to call it a night. Gemma said next time we go out to eat, hey, it's on her. Now, they end up taking some flicks. Hey, Maisha's at the house and she's looking on Instagram and she sees that these two are getting a little closer than just business partners. And we're going to see a little rift in between the three of these. Over at Smokies, Emmett is in here cleaning up a little bit. And it looks like Douda's number 3 henchman shows up to finish the job. But this is where Emmett's plan comes into play. He starts to explain to him that tell Douda that without me, his operation will crumble. Which it will because Smokies is playing a big part. And also we got the chain in New York, which we haven't actually seen the business, so we aren't sure. We just got to take Douda's word, and that word don't go a long way. But Emmett is telling him, listen, whoever takes out Douda, they'll be next in charge. Now, Emmett doesn't want to be next in charge. And he also says, none of y'all can run this operation, Bakari, Nook, you, because people know me. There's a face behind Smokies, and that's me. So tell Douda, I'm not hard to find. And he says, do you have a death wish? He just said, nah, I'm tired of running. But he also has some information. Where were you at the night we tried to get Douda? Everyone shows up to Rob's mom's house to see how Rob is doing. Now, Tiffany and Kiesha are wondering how the hell did Rob and Emmett end up together and miss the shot? Well, they know that they missed the shot because neither one of them are shooters. It's an unlikely duo. Now, when they go into the living room, Rob's mom comes out and she's like, wait, Tiffany, I told you no more guests. Who are all these people? And then they explain. Tiffany and Emmett used to be together, broke up. Kiesha and Emmett used to talk. They end up getting together. They trying to make it work. They want to raise all the kids together. And Rob's mom is like, that's not how we did it back in the day. This is some Black Brady bunch. Now, Rob ends up coming out with his walker and everyone's excited and they're happy that he's alive, but he feels like he's shot. And now we got to figure out what's the next plan because that plan to get Douda didn't work. Douda's number 3 in charge comes back. Now, this is after the conversation he had with Emmett, and he's trying to tell Douda, listen, if we ain't got a front of the house Negro that's going to be running the business, shaking hands and kissing babies, then it might be bad for business. Now, Douda, he's a street guy. And just like you and I, this sounds like a setup. So he ends up choking him out and saying, where were you at that night that they tried to get rid of me? He said, I had a business meeting. He said, so you sure you're not setting me up? You sure Emmett didn't get in your head? Because you sound a little too smart. When I told you to be smart, I didn't mean go and listen to what Emmett has to say and bring that back to me. But right now, Douda does understand the principles of business, and you do need someone that can actually operate it, not some street thugs. We get introduced to a new character by the name of Bianca. Now, Tiffany's in the living room, rolling up a little bit, trying to have her stress reliever. And Bianca shows up, says she's a friend of Alicia. She has some flowers, so that means she probably known her for way back when. And she just bringing some flowers for Rob. Now, you know us men, we don't care about none of that. But Tiffany goes upstairs and she says, give her a minute, she'll be down. Now, these two were looking at each other, but the peacekeeper was sparked and it was in the air. A nice, crisp, rolled, mm. And she says, do you smoke? Bianca said, yeah. And well, they shared them a bleezy. Now, Bianca was invested in by Alicia. And her and Tiffany, they exchanged information because she has a cigar bar. And when she took a taste of that weed, ooh, she said, listen, I might be able to get you a part in my cigar bar. Now, Alicia comes downstairs and she ain't trying to hear none of that. She's saying, listen, how well do you know Douda? I need you to cash in on this favor that you owe me. So, you're saying that you and Douda are close and he trusts you? I have a plan. I'm going to bring it up to you in a little bit. Gemma goes home and she talks to Tierra. Now, Tierra's saying, is everything all right? Because she's thinking maybe it has something to do with music. You guys are graduated. Maybe it's some business. We don't know. But what Gemma is telling her is, Tierra, she kissed a girl and she liked it. So she wants to know, does this make her a lesbian? And she's like, no, you're just experimenting. But for guys, if you kissed a guy, that makes you gay. But that's neither here or there. We're talking about Gemma at this moment. But Tierra said, you're just experimenting. But you shouldn't experiment behind your partner's back. At least give Jake a heads up that you have kissed a girl and you liked it. Victor comes over to talk to Jake because Jake took money from Douda. Now, Jake is saying, I didn't take money technically from Douda. It was one of his henchmen. And Trig is like, wait a minute. That means you got the money from Douda. They get paid by Douda. So if they invest in you, that money that they're investing came from Douda, from the work that they put in for Douda. Now, Jake is thinking that he knows the game. He's thinking that he has it all figured out. But we all know no one really ever has the game completely figured out. And especially at 18 years old, you don't know what's going on. Now, Trig says they're having a man circle over at the crib, and you need to come over because your mental health is more important. But Jake is like, nah, he ain't really trying to be over there because he knows Victor's probably going to tell everybody and everyone's going to tell him he was wrong for taking that money. Maisha is upset because Brittany and Gemma, they went out to eat. So she goes to talk to our boy, Papa. Now remember, Papa and Maisha, they used to date, but now she's with Kevin and Kevin is in LA. And when there's a separation between two in a relationship, it starts to fall off a little bit. You start to become interested in the people that are in close proximity. Now, Maisha is saying, hey, these two are getting close and I don't like that. Papa is saying maybe it was a spur of the moment, but what do you see as success? And she starts to explain that she wants to do this music thing, have a condo overlooking the city. Papa is saying he wants to get Papa's pulpit. He wants to make sure that the people, the masses, are fed with good information. But both of them agree that they want a family. And we see them getting close, but out of nowhere, Kevin texts and they jump apart. After their men's circle, Bakari said he had a dream. Trig is there, Emmett is there, but Emmett says, you know what? Forget all of this. I need to go see Douda right now. He goes over there in a fresh suit and says, I heard you're looking for me. Now, Douda is drinking and he's saying, are you looking to go ahead and have a funeral? Because you need to pick out a suit if so. And Emmett's trying to convince him that I'm worth more alive than I am dead. And he says, I'll do anything to prove that. The Douda says, you know what? I have a proposition for you. Since you know so much and since you really want to live, we'll do a body for a body swap out. And he hands him a picture of Alicia, Rob's mom, and says, if you can make her disappear, then I'll let you live. A body for a body. All right, there you go. Episode 9, part 2 of season 6, The Shy. Let me know what you think about Emmett. Was this a good deal to make? A body for a body? I mean, you get to live. You do have to throw Rob's mother up under the bus, literally, and make sure that you run over it and reverse over it. But let me know what you think. Is that a good deal? And is there any other way that they can potentially do this without Emmett being caught up in it? My name is Modi J. We will be covering The Shy. Thanks for watching. I'm on that road to 50,000 subscribers. So if you like this kind of content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.